All right, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We've got a full MLB slate. We're going to talk about every game like we always do. And I've got 6 best bets for you guys. Recap from yesterday, the 6 bets that we gave out went 3-3. We had the Yankees race to 4 and Yankees race to 5. That was sweat free. We had the Marlins and the Orioles over 9. GG. Did not hit that one. Orioles left a ton of runners on base. In total, we had 12 left on base. Lots of situations to cash this. The Marlins didn't really wake up until the 9th inning, unfortunately. We had the Blue Jays and the A's over 10.5. That was a cash. We had the Phillies and the Padres. First 5 under 4.5. We just needed them to be under 5. They scored 6 in the entire game. Unfortunately, 5 of those came in the first 2 innings. So we got ripped there. And then we had Chase Burns over 6 or more Ks, plus the Reds on the money line. Burns did his job. He had an excellent outing. But the Reds lost thanks to a Tony Santillan wild pitch. That was a tough one. Only the Reds lose like that, so GG. All right, let's get into this card and talk about it. Some interesting spots here, some decent pitching matchups. Overall, should be an interesting day. We do have some weather to worry about, so we'll talk about the games where the weather's involved. But first game on the slate, kicking us off is going to be the Cubs and the Yankees. We've got Matthew Boyd and Max Fried going up against each other. Fried 11-2 on the season. Matthew Boyd 9-3 on the season. Now, probably going to be contrarian to most plays, but I like the over here. It's going to be 82 degrees. There is a very slight chance of rain, but it's like 9%. And we've got a 6-mile-an-hour wind that's going to be kind of blowing in and blowing out. It's going to kind of mix, but it's going to be coming from right to left. Home runs are expected to be up today. Runs are expected to be up today. I expect both of these teams to hit. Yankees over the last 2 weeks versus lefties have been dominant. Number 1 in baseball. 333 over the past 2 weeks, 400 over the past week. Over the past week, they're hitting 400 with a 257 WRC plus, but they're facing a Cubs team that's hitting lefties well as well. And the pitch mix, frankly, doesn't look fantastic for Max Fried. Cubs are 4th hitting the fastball, they're 5th hitting the slider, and they're 7th hitting the curveball. So I like runs in this game. Give me the over 8. I have a feeling most people are going to be on the under. Now, the issue is it's a day game, not going to take pregame BP, so we might see this game start off slow. If you want, I would live bet after the first inning. Probably going to see a nerfy here. I think there's decent chance. So if that's the case, we're going to wait and live bet. You'll probably be able to get this at 7. But I do like the over here. We've seen Fried definitely slip a little bit in the last 30 days. Lefty on lefty, giving up a 250 average, 217 to righties. Hard hit percentage has ticked up a little bit. My issue with Boyd, we've seen him in road starts just have some rough go of it. Although his splits over the last 30 days have been pretty good, he hasn't been exactly facing the strongest teams. So now he gets the Yankees, and he struggled with runners in scoring position. He's given up a 324 average with runners in scoring position, and it's a Yankees team that's gone over in 13 straight games. The over is hit in 13 of the last 13 games that the Yankees have played. So not going to fade a streak here. We'll lean into it. I could definitely see this end up being like 4-4, and then we're guaranteed to hit this. So I do like the over in this game. I do think there is some value taking the Cubs. But again, if you wait, this line will definitely, once the public really starts hitting the books, this line will go towards the Yankees like crazy. Probably be able to get the Cubs at like plus 150. So I do think there's some value there too. I like to bounce back after a terrible day yesterday where Rodon almost like threw a complete game against them. So second day in a row facing a lefty, I do think that matters as well. All right, next game is going to be the Mariners. And the Tigers, I told you, had this weird spider sense to just stay off of this game. And I'm glad I did, because the Mariners just absolutely destroyed them. Skubal was due for a bad outing, so you can only jump on that ship so many times. But I'll tell you what, his next start post-break, I think we'll be all over him. So I like that he got that out of the way. Today we get George Kirby going up against Casey Mize. Mize has been outstanding at home. 2.0 ERA and 6 home starts. Splits look okay. I don't really love his average against righties, giving up a 292 average with an 18% K rate. Hard hit percentage slightly up, but he's doing a good job navigating with runners in scoring position. My only concern here is he throws the fastball 45% of the time, and the Mariners are the best fastball hitting team against righties over the last 30 days. Number one. Everything else, they're not so good in. The splitter and the sinker and the slider, the Mariners struggle a lot. So this could be one. I go back to the Tigers in this one. I love taking teams that get destroyed the day before. So it would be Tigers or nothing for me in this one. Over under of 8. Now there is a chance for rain in this game. 38% chance of rain. It's going to be 79 degrees, and the wind is going to be blowing in from right field, but it's not going to be a crazy high wind. So the over 8, I think, is still very much in play. I think the Mariners should be able to get to Mize, and I would expect the Tigers to hit Kirby. He is giving up a 5 ERA and 4 away starts this season. So I would play the over first, and then Tigers money line. One that almost made the card. If I had to pick another play, it would have been this one. Next game is going to be the Pirates and the Twins. Good game yesterday. We get Mike Burrows against Travis Adams today. Now, I'm guessing Travis Adams is pitching. There's no pitcher listed. So this would be one I would lean towards the Pirates in this one. Now, the issue is they can't hit. They're streaky. They're very similar to like the Reds, but over the last 2 weeks, they're hitting .233 against righties with a 72 WRC plus. But over the past week, they're dead last in baseball. They're hitting .167 with a 27 WRC plus. Kind of hard to back a team that's hitting like that. And they're not doing a fantastic job with runners in scoring position. Now, I think this one has a really good chance of some type of delay. There is a 53% chance of rain. It is going to be 81 degrees. Maybe it gets delayed. I don't know. I didn't look into this one too intently, just because I think you're gambling on this one. Twins at home have been pretty good, 26-19. Pirates on the road have been atrocious. They're 12-35. Pirates have lost 6 straight, 4-6 of their last 10. Can I get on board with it? Yeah, I don't know. Not really one where I can force myself to say, okay, yeah, we want to jump on board with this. Actually, you know what? Pirates have lost 7 straight, 3-7 in the last 10. I wasn't factoring in last night. So yeah, I can't get on board with this game. It's just a complete fade for me. Not enough value at 125 to take the Pirates. But if it keeps going up, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a poop show of a game here. Maybe the under 9 could be an avenue for me. All right, next game, Braves and the Cardinals. I had the Braves on the card yesterday, and I took it off, which I shouldn't have because it hit. But today we get, I think it's going to be Nathan Wiles, another one where they didn't really have the pitcher, so I'm kind of guessing a little bit. Nathan Wiles going up against Eric Fedde. We do know Eric Fedde is starting. Fedde, almost a 6 ERA at home, giving up a 372 average to lefties, 311 to righties. Hard hit percentage is high. Sucks with runners in scoring position. We get an over-under of 9.5. It's going to be 90 degrees with the wind blowing out, and you're getting a bullpen game for the Braves. That said, Braves bullpen has been very solid over the last 30 days. 2.71 ERA, 2.95 FIP, which is actually number 1. And they have the number 1 expected FIP at 3.33. So this would be Braves or nothing for me. Go right back to the well. I just don't trust Fedde. I just don't know if I really want to trust this Braves team. Things got a little spotty last night. I thought they were going to run away with it, and then they let the Cardinals back in. They got a lead, let them back in. So over 9.5 doesn't look bad at all to me, or a Braves team total over would be the way I would play that one. All right, next game is going to be Miami and Baltimore. This is going to be Jason Junk going up against Trevor Rogers. Rogers is pitching fantastic, man. Got to give it to him. He's got 28 innings under his belt. He's got 24 Ks, very low ERA, 1.57. It's just like I'm at a point where I trust Rogers. Maybe I just have PTSD from, last year in his Marlins days, but not someone I really want to love. That said, the Marlins versus lefties have been absolutely atrocious. 27th in baseball over the last 2 weeks, hitting 188. 27th over the past week, hitting 169. So not really a team I can back. That said, Jason Junk has been absolutely fantastic. We get an over-under of 9 today. It would be under 9. There's just too much line on the Orioles. Can't pay this price for the Orioles. So That said, I just simply don't trust Miami. So it'd be the under would be the way I would play this game. Next game is going to be the Dodgers and the Giants. You know what? I think we're skipping a game here. Let's see. I think we've got one that's not showing on the card, but let me make sure before we get too far ahead. I don't want to skip games. 4-10 game. Okay, we're good. All right, Giants and the Dodgers. So this one's going to be Landon Roop going up against Shohei Ohtani. I don't expect Shohei to go too long. Like, he's still on a pitch limit. We're coming up against the All-Star break. They're going to play it safe here. But that said, righties have been able to get to Shohei. He's given up a 273 average to righties, but his hard hit percentage is silly. It's like 13%. It's the lowest among any starter. But runners in scoring position, giving up a 250 average. You look at Landon Roop, he's been fantastic at home. He's got a 1.85 ERA and 7 home starts, but his splits over the last 30 days aren't fantastic. Almost a 300 average to lefties, 242 to righties. Doing a good job with limiting hard hits, but he's not really striking out guys at a terribly high clip. So I think the line makes sense. You've got a Dodgers team that's lost 7 straight. Like, they're going to win. I don't know if they'll win today, but they will win one of these games. So line's too high. There's just simply no value. Over 8 would be the way I would play this game. I do think after Shohei, I don't know who they're going to throw after Shohei, I'll be honest. But like I said, he's only in here for a little bit of time, and I think they can get to this Dodgers bullpen. I think the Dodgers get to Landon Roop. We saw a decent amount of runs yesterday, so over 8 would be the way I would play this game. But again, probably one I would wait and bet until after Shohei pitches. See how they do in the first inning. If they get through the first inning clean, that line will go down. So probably one I would just live bet. All right, next one is going to be Cleveland and the White Sox. It's going to be Tanner Bibee going up against, I believe, Sean Burke. Yeah, Sean Burke. And this one, Bibee on the road this season, 5.5 ERA and 11 away starts. Sean Burke, 381 ERA and 10 home starts. We saw a split yesterday. Guardians ended up losing in the 11th inning last night. So that was a pretty long day yesterday for both teams. In terms of the weather, it's going to be a really nice day, 85 degrees. There is a 10% chance of rain. But we do have the wind blowing out pretty good here. We got the wind blowing out at about 7-8 miles an hour, but it does have a pretty significant impact on this field. So home runs are going to be up 28%. Runs are going to be up 10%. Ibe's not somebody I necessarily trust, especially against lefties. Giving up a 340 average to lefties over the last 30 days, but 193 to righties. When I look at the projected lineup for the White Sox, they've got 5 projected lefties in the order today. They're kind of mixed. You get the leadoff guys, the lefty, you got Benintendi, and then you got some guys near the bottom. Sean Burke, on the other hand, kind of giving it up to both sides of the dish. 271 to lefties, 302 to righties. Now, with the lefties, though, Burke is K'ing them at a 32% clip over the last 30 days. So he's pitching better against lefties, and his strikeout rate is significantly higher. He's only striking out righties less than 14% of the time. But both of these guys have struggled runners in scoring position. Pitch mix looks terrible for both, if I'm being honest. It would be over 8.5 for me. I'm just not playing it simply because of the fatigue factor from yesterday, playing that doubleheader and then going into extras. So this is one where they played 19 innings yesterday. So don't know if they played 20 innings yesterday. So don't know if I necessarily want to back it. Don't love where the Cleveland bullpen's at in terms of their arm usage. I could definitely see some runs out of the pen, and the White Sox bullpen's actually been pretty fantastic. Top 5 bullpen last 30 days. So there's some value taking the White Sox here, but it would be the over for me, would be how I would play that game personally. All right, next game is going to be the Mets and the Royals. Royals were looking really good last night. They were up 3-1 heading into the 8th, and the Mets just absolutely unloaded on them and ended up winning this 8-3. So they scored 7 runs. They scored 3 in the 8th, I believe, and 4 in the 9th. We get Frankie the Fade Montas going up against Michael Lorenzen. This is just called shitty pitching at its finest. Montas is just Montas. Terrible against righties, giving up a 333 average to righties over the last 30 days. 212 the lefties. Lorenzen, he's just a middle of the road guy that's going to give up some runs. He's got a 4 ERA at home, giving up a 224 average to lefties, 244 to righties. Does keep the hard hit percentage fairly low, but not fantastic with runners in scoring position. In terms of the weather, it's going to be 88 degrees. There is a 56% chance of rain, and there's a 10-mile-an-hour wind that is going to be, it's going to mix throughout the game. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's like a 5 mile. It's between 5 and 10 mile. So you get gust up to 10, but it's pretty much going to be blowing left to right, but could be blowing in as well. And you get this big over-under of 9.5. Doesn't really make sense with the wind. So this is one, I lean Mets, but I can't get behind Frankie the fade. Maybe Mets team total over. That way I can avoid Frankie. But again, that's just way too high in my opinion. So no play for me in this one. Next game is going to be the Rockies and the Reds. I will actually be at this game today. So looking forward to hopefully watching the Reds win the game. It's going to be Bradley Blaylock, who was called up for Chase Dollander. Chase Dollander was optioned to AAA, and they brought up Bradley Blaylock. Of all the people you could bring up, Blaylock on the season doesn't have a ton of innings. He's got 16 innings under his belt, only has 8 strikeouts. He's got a 13 ERA, a 375 opponent average. I mean, he's terrible. You can go back to last year and see he's just not good. Going up against Brady Singer, he's got a 4 ERA in 9 home starts. It's not the worst at GABP. But that said, man, his splits against lefties are bad. 300 average to lefties, only 167 to righties, but just not a guy I trust at this park. Weather is going to be fantastic. It's going to be 89 degrees, and there's going to be a slight wind, but home runs are up 34%. Runs are up 16%. I think you look at the numbers, the Reds should go nuts, but it's almost unbettable how bad it is. But if you look at Blaylock, he's averaging almost 3.5 home runs per 9 innings, and you've got Singer right around 1 home run per 9. But I like runs to be scored in this game. 10.5 isn't out of the question. I think a lot of people are going to be under it, but I would do how we're going to play this as our best bet is we're going to do both teams to score 2 runs in the first 5. And you can get that at plus 135 on DraftKings. If we look at Singer in his home starts, his last 5 home starts, he's given up 2 or more earned runs, and he doesn't go for a long time. So I like this spot here. We just need like a 2-run home run. I think we should see some action tonight with the home runs. So like I said, both teams to score 2+. There's just no value unless you want to take the Reds like minus 2.5, and I don't trust Singer that much. So that's how I'm going to play this game. So, selfishly, since I'm going to be there, we had to work in a Reds prop. All right, next one is going to be the Nats and the Brewers. This is going to be Brandon Woodruff, who looked absolutely fantastic. We were on his over 4.5 Ks last game. He ended up getting us 8. Market has adjusted. It is 6.5 now, but he's going to be going up against Shunnosuke Agasawara. This guy's not good. He didn't look good in his minor league starts. They brought him up a little prematurely, I think. Pitch mix looks awful. Brewers are second hitting the fastball. They're first hitting the slider. Maybe the curveball and the changeup, he could find some success, but I don't think so. This is one where I think the Brewers absolutely roll. One of the few times I think the roof's actually going to be open today. I tried to look into it, but I do think it's going to be open, which if that's the case, it's going to be a really good day to score runs because there is going to be a nice wind blowing out to center field about 10, 11 miles an hour, which should kind of help this. So what I'm doing in this case is we are going to do the Brewers. On the run line, we're going to do the Brewers team total over 4.5. So we got 2 bets in this game, kind of similar to how we did it with the Yankees yesterday. So I'm going to approach that from 2 angles here. It's just one, they should be able to get to Agasawara. And then if they can't, they got this beautiful bullpen that's terrible. Whereas the Brewers bullpen's been pretty fantastic last 30 days. 4th in the MLB in ERA and 2nd in FIP. All right, next game. Pitching matchup of the day. Texas and Houston. This is going to be DeGrom versus Valdez. So really nice pitching matchup here. We get an over-under of 6.5. DeGrom has just south of a 3 ERA on the road. Splits look pretty fantastic against lefties, only giving up a 130 average, but 264 against righties. Kind of the same with Valdez, 150 against lefties, 258 against righties. I lean Astros at home. I don't really want to fade either of these pitchers, so I'm going to stay off. I think 6.5 is a little heavy. If I could get it under 7, I could get on board with that. But this is one I'm just going to lay off and enjoy this game. Should be some really good matchups here. I think if the line keeps moving towards Texas, if it gets to like plus 115, I'd entertain Texas. But aside from that, it'd be Astros or nothing. Next game is going to be the Phillies and the Padres. Zach Wheeler going up against Darvish. Darvish didn't look great in his last start. Obviously, coming back from injury, I still think we're going to get some rust here. Zach Wheeler's been Zach Wheeler. He's been fantastic. He's got a 2.5 ERA on the road, but we look at his splits over the last 30 days: 116 against lefties, 186 against righties. Very low hard hit percentage. Fantastic with runners in scoring position. So I like the Phillies to bounce back here and get the dub today. That's why we see this line ridiculously high. I'm going to take a -1. That way we do bring in some push potential, but I could see the Phillies winning this by a couple of runs. I think if they get to Darvish, this Padres bullpen is extremely taxed. So I like the spot here, considering they did see all the main arms yesterday. So I love the spot for Phillies to just absolutely score some runs today. In terms of the weather, it's going to be 69 degrees. We do have basically a left to right wind, so pretty neutral overall in terms of how it's going to impact the game. So I do like the Phillies here in this spot. Phillies race to 4 was another one I was thinking about putting on the card. You can get that at -110 on DraftKings. Next one is going to be the Dbacks and the Angels. We got Zach Gallen going up against Yusei Kikuchi. So this one, Kikuchi's been fantastic at home. That said, he got rocked pretty good in his last home start. I think we'll see that again tonight. Zach Gallen just kind of gets rocked wherever he goes. So I like runs in this one. Instead of taking the over 9, which I don't mind, we're going to take both teams to score 3 runs. You actually get pretty good value on that one. So you get -135 on DraftKings. I just don't see either of these teams not scoring 3 runs. So two teams that have been hitting really well as of late. So we're just going to lean into it. Over the last week, D-backs are hitting 276 against lefties. If we look at the Angels against righties, they're hitting 263. So 2 teams with really nice WRC plus and actually really low K rates. So should be putting the ball in play, should be scoring some runs, especially with the wind blowing out tonight. It's going to be 75 degrees, pretty ideal baseball weather there. So, but if you don't want to do that, I don't mind taking the over 9 either. And I would lean towards the Angels in this one. All right, next one and a last one is going to be Toronto and the A's. Kevin Gausman going up against Jacob Lopez. I don't like betting against Jacob Lopez because he's just this mixed bag. Like, he's going to pitch outstanding or he's going to get crushed. There just seems to be it's one or the other. And you flip a coin on what it's going to be. But if we look at this Blue Jays team, they've been hitting lefties really well over the past week. Now, we go back to the last 2 weeks. It's not as nice. 205 over the past 2 weeks with an 81 WRC plus. A's are hitting 247 against righties. So this would be a sneaky spot where I could see the A's getting to Gausman and kind of pulling this off. It is going to be 98 degrees with the wind blowing out. So we got about a between 11 and 14 mile an hour wind blowing out. So over 10.5 looks appealing. If I just knew what Jacob Lopez I was going to get, I would lean towards taking the over 10.5 in this one, or maybe taking a Blue Jays team total over. But again, it's a little risky with Lopez. So yeah, over 10.5 would be the only way I would play this personally. All right, let's get into our best bets. But before we do that, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Absolutely free to do so. And comment down below with your favorite play of the day. If you want to join the Discord, it's absolutely free. Link is down below in the description. Completely free. One of the benefits is you get the betting card before the video comes out. So you usually get it 30 to 40 minutes before everybody else sees it on YouTube. So like I said, completely free. Link down in the description. All right, best bets for today. First play, we're going to do Brewers, -1.5. We're also taking the Brewers team total over 4.5. So we got 2 units in this game, but I love this spot here. We're going to take the Rockies and the Reds, both teams, to score 2 in the first 5. Just a half a unit play. It's our only half unit play on the day. We're going to take the Phillies, -1. Like I said, love this spot for Wheeler. Darvish didn't look super sharp. They saw all the main Padres bullpens arms. Many of them have gone like 2 or 3 days in a row. So we should be seeing the back end of that bullpen today. We're going to take the Dbacks and the Angels, both teams, to score 3 for the entire game. We just need 3 for each. Could see that happen within the first 5 innings, frankly. And then we're going to take the Yankees and the Cubs over 8. Definitely the riskiest play of the day. Kind of counterintuitive to, I think most people are just going to take the under, especially considering it's a 1 o'clock game. But just one of those, we'll call it like yesterday with the Tigers game, just a kind of a spider sense that the Cubs are going to score some runs and the Yankees are going to be able to get to Peterson. So that is how I see it. So appreciate you guys tuning in to the channel, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video.